Hi, good afternoon. My name is Joshua Levy, and I'm the Vice President of Business Development for the CPG vertical. It is a great pleasure for me to introduce Megan Houlihan of Nestlé Canada. In today's presentation, Megan will share how Nestlé's Nescafé brand engaged Canada's diverse consumer base with the World Says Coffee campaign. Megan Houlihan is the Manager of Consumer and Shopper Insight and Strategy for Nestlé's Coffee and Beverage Division. She has a wealth of experience working in market research for the past 16 years, both on the supplier and client side. Without further ado, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce Megan Houlihan.
Thanks, Josh, for the warm welcome, and hello to everybody. As you said, I'm Megan, and I work in the Coffee and Beverage Division at Nestlé. And I want to walk you through this case study because we think it's a really strong example of our partnership with Environics. So I will get into it. And this room is bigger than you think when you're standing up here, by the way. So what do we know? We know that Canadians love their coffee. And I don't mean they love their coffee. I mean they love their coffee. And I think all of you in this room probably have some sort of connection to coffee. It's more than just a beverage. It's actually provides an emotional connection. When we talk to consumers and their morning coffee goes the wrong way, their whole day is thrown off. Coffee is an essential part of many Canadians. And I mean, before I was on the business, I loved coffee, but now I love coffee even more. But really what we wanted to understand is how as Nescafé, which is, a strong coffee brand, how could we stand out against our strong competitors? And as I said, Canadians love their coffee and they already have emotional attachments to certain brands that I won't name today up here, but it's a very emotional category. And so how could we as Nescafé, who's not necessarily known as a Canadian brand, really build brand love with Canadians? So I don't know how much you know about Nescafé, and I don't know how many of you even interact with the brand, but it's a really special brand. And I know when we think about iconic brands like Amazon, Google, McDonald's, Coke, we don't always think of Nescafé in that same echelon of brands. But actually, Nescafé is one of the top 50 brands globally, and it's the #1 hot beverage brand in the world. And we're also, we've got some money against us, $12.3 billion, not such a teeny tiny brand. Also, if we think about it in perspective of who's drinking us, who's consuming it, we're available in 180 countries. And I believe there's about 195, so we've still got some ways to go, but we're doing okay at 180. And also a stat that really always surprises me, and it surprises people when I say it, but every second, 5,500 cups of Nescafé are consumed. As well, if we think about Nescafé in terms of sustainability, we have a super ambitious sustainability plan, but the way we can connect that back with consumers is making them understand that they can feel part of the solution as well by making the decision they make to purchase us. And as being one of the biggest coffee producers in the world, we can also have one of the biggest impacts from a sustainability standpoint. Also, when we talk to Canadians who are not necessarily Nescafé consumers at first, let's say in focus groups, when we let them try the product, when we let them, experience it, a lot of them are very surprised and delighted about what we're here to offer. It's not just your grandma's instant coffee. We've got some other things shaken in our portfolio. And we always see people, they're like, oh, can we just take a couple more of those packets? And they put them in their purse and run out the focus room door. Anyway, it's just funny when we see that. And we're like, we know that we can continue to build awareness as well as love with this brand. And just on another note, it's just an iconic brand. Like, what other coffee company can say it was the first coffee to be consumed at the top of Mount Everest, or we've even been to the moon? There's a lot of people, smart people out there that have been trying to build our brand equity, and we were just here to continue. And we knew that we had a lot of things to tell Canadians, and that's why we decided we really needed a strong comms plan moving forward. So again, I told you our challenge. And you know, the challenge is also, like, there's no real ceiling to the category in Canada. So we know that the coffee has an 81% household penetration. 22 billion cups of coffee are consumed in Canada each year. You guys love your coffee. And the average Canadian actually drinks 3 cups of coffee a day. So although Nescafé stands for trust within instant, we wanted to stand for trust just as a coffee brand. So what did we do? Well, we turned to our friends who run PRIZM. We had already done it on one of our sub-brands, Sweet and Creamy, and it actually had unlocked a lot of consumers that we had never really considered. We kind of knew, you know, we're trying to target younger people. We kind of knew that, but we were like, there's got to be other people out there that are consuming us. And so the segmentation work we did with PRIZM on Sweet and Creamy really helped us unlock some of those consumers that were out there, and it actually affected a lot of that brand strategy over the course of a couple of years ago. So we were like, you know what? As a Nescafé brand team, we're like, we're all into this PRIZM thing. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it on all our brands. Master brand, Rich. We're gonna do it on Taster's Choice, which doesn't always get a lot of love, but we're gonna do it on everything. And so really, we sat down with the team and we were very clear about our objectives, because although we had done other segmentation work where it kind of just talks about coffee generally and how consumers interact with coffee, this time we wanted to be very specific. Who's interacting with our brand? What are those consumers? Who's most invested with us? What are they like? How do they interact with coffee generally? What are some of their behaviors? What do they do in their daily life? As well as, you know, the important demographics. And so I think that's what really started the success of the project, was sitting down and being very focused and having very detailed objectives with the team. And then what I would say is the output of what comes out of the PRIZM data is amazing, because not only does it take the PRIZM segmentation, but it works also with consumer spending data, behavioral data, as well as demographics. And so you're getting at the end an amazingly holistic view of who your consumer actually is, from, you know, I don't know, just everything, media habits, shopping habits, the sky's the limit, really. And so that's what really started to help us unlock a few things. Also, I would say the reporting that comes out of it, like the profile sheets, are so amazing, detailed, and simple. Like we still use them, they're living documents within our business unit, and it's just amazing. Anyone new on the business can read them and fully start to understand who the consumer is. So like I said, we got to know our consumers like never before very deeply. They came to life. Oh, my clicker. So one of the things we uncovered is a lot of them are from diverse families, and quite a few are actually new to Canada. And this was really important for us to understand, because we always knew that as Nescafé, we probably had connections to people from other places, but we didn't realize the extent. We didn't realize that it was 50%. That was huge for us, a huge unlock. The other thing, we started to really understand how they're interacting with coffee and the category, what other formats they're using within coffee, because there's instant, there's roasting ground, there's K-cups. So it really gave us a more holistic picture of what they're doing and how they're interacting. As well, we really got a key glimpse into their daily life. What are their motivations? What are their behaviors? We can see how they digest media, what media they're going to, even the banners they're shopping at. It was really interesting to us. We also were able to unlock, their views on things like sustainability, wellness. We really felt like we were getting to know these people very closely. So we took our PRIZM profiles, and because this team I'm on, myself included, we can't stop. We need to know more. We need to always know so much more about everything. So we took all this amazing work that came out of PRIZM, and we went into extensive qual, and by extensive, I mean so many focus groups. I can't even tell you, but we did it because it's one thing to see someone on paper, it's another thing to see them come to life. And so we spent a lot of time with our consumers because we got all these functional, really cool behavioral understanding from PRIZM, but we got to know them on an emotional level when we paired it with the qual. And so this is really when we started to have the unlock. We started to understand from these new Canadians, these diverse Canadians we were talking to, that Nescafé has a lot to offer. And really we just needed to share the message, not only with them to reinforce that Nescafé is out there, but with Canadians too who maybe haven't interacted with the brand, who don't really know what a global brand we actually are. And so this is where some of the magic actually started to take place. So we took the PRIZM profiles, as I said. Then we took what we did in qual, and really this is what we used for our comms brief. This is our person. This is the person that came to life from us on the page and in the focus group room. So the Nescafé consumer, they're grounded, they're positive, they work hard. We really started to understand that they're trying to make a life for themselves here in Canada. They look for quality brands. They look for brands that can actually show their successes because, again, they're working hard. And as a reward, they tend to go towards brands that really can show their success. They also, another key unlock for us really was the way that they view the world. And they're actually people who feel responsibility outside of themselves. So they don't always look intrinsically what's going on with them, but they take a broader step back and look at what's happening from a global perspective, which is why we also called them global citizens. They're people of the world. They've come from different places. They have extended life experiences, and it was really interesting to be able to talk to them about those things. And also, we need to mention it, they're time-strapped. So I get, like most of us, I guess, but I would say from a functional perspective, that's why Nescafé actually was still really working for them in their life. So I want to stop here and talk a little bit about, that's the journey we took. It took a little bit of time, not going to lie, to put it all together. But I think what was really rewarding for us is that coming out of that, we had really clear, key human truths when it connected back to Nescafé. And so step one was to remind new Canadians of their existing relationship to Nescafé while introducing the brand in a new way to other Canadians that maybe don't have as much interaction. Which was very exciting for us because in past, a lot of our comms had focused more on the product and the format and the benefit versus looking at Nescafé from a more holistic perspective. We started with that film, which was called How the World Says Coffee. And then we moved into our Make Your World Jars campaign. And this was a stepping stone. This was the first time we had actually started talking about our sustainability journey and how that actually can connect back to very simple things that people are already doing and how they already interact with Nescafé as a brand. I would also say the success of these campaigns, and I'm going to show you a sizzle reel in a moment, but The success of these campaigns also lied in the fact that we were able to leverage the PRIZM data with our media partners. And I think Nescafé, not me personally, but Nescafé was referenced earlier this morning as a brand that really took the reins and said, you know what, we did all this work on PRIZM, let's layer it into some of our media buy tools, and it actually resulted in a really successful campaign for us. So I hope it works, cross my fingers. We're not sure about video, but we hope it works. Anyway, this is our sizzle reel. It's not gonna jump directly into the ads are embedded in it, but it's a bit snazzier way to show you guys than just me talking. So here we go.
Over 50% of Canadian Nescafé consumers are diverse. Many have come from other parts of the world and have chosen to call Canada home. And while Nescafé is a beloved brand all over the world, in Canada, it's often thought of as just another instant coffee. Our task was to persuade Canadians, and especially new Canadians, to love Nescafé as much as they do in the rest of the world. We knew that our new brand platform was on the horizon, but before we formally launched Make Your World, our first task was to establish our global credentials and remind new Canadians of their existing relationship with Nescafé from their country of origin. The unlock for this phase was a simple but compelling fact. Every second, 5,500 cups of Nescafé are consumed around the world. This staggering statistic is a testament to the devotion that exists across the globe for Nescafé coffee, and a powerful reminder to new Canadians to reconsider the brand and increase their willingness to pay.
¿No quieres un poquito de Nescafé para tu azúcar?
¿Escuchas un Nescafé?
Sí, lo ofrece.
After the successful launch of Stage 1, it was time to officially launch Make Your World. The job to be done in Stage 2 was to further reinforce our coffee authority, while at the same time convey the sustainability impact the brand, one little jar, and its consumers can make together. The idea for our second film began with a consumer truth about how our product is used around the world. From pantries to garages, all over the world, once it's been emptied, consumers fill their Nescafé jars with more than just coffee.
¿De qué colores dice?
Both films were enthusiastically embraced across not just Canada, but the world. Beyond just glowing reviews, the brand and business results were overwhelming. campaigns have written an emotionally nuanced and compelling first chapter in showing Canadians how Nescafé can help make your world.
So we're really proud of those films. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears went into them. Yeah, but let me get back to my slides that are less snazzy than that. So the results speak for themselves. And really, I have to say, without the help of the PRIZM data, I don't think we would have been able to do what we were able to achieve on these films without knowing exactly who our consumer was, without being able to target the media buys the way we did while layering PRIZM data. That I think is going to become a new best-in-class recommendation for us at Nestlé. As well, it just was one of the most successful Nescafé campaigns we've ever done, and it got a lot of traction globally as well as we work on a global brand. So it was all just very positive. Yeah. So again, just to reiterate and wrap up a little bit, with the help of PRIZM, our consumers really did come to life like never before. We got to know them deeply. I mentioned we got to understand their behaviors, how they interact with media, even how they interact with advertising or even packaging. We realized that some of our gold consumers were really motivated by beautiful packaging, and we're like, gold comes in a beautiful pack. That's amazing, right? And so just the level of detail was just amazing. We were able to unlock those key insights, not only for our comm strategy, but we're using these insights to build our brand strategy as well. And like I said, we produced one of the most successful Nescafé campaigns. We moved the needle on all metrics, and PRIZM definitely allowed us to be super targeted. We did have results from our broad targeting and results from our PRIZM targeting with the media buys, and there were lifts across the board when it came to our PRIZM targeting. And it also, interestingly enough, helped us really narrow down some of those countries we would want to feature in the first film, How the World Says Coffee. So that's it. I would like to thank our team, our PRIZM team, for all their help, and thank you. Thanks for listening to me today.